All right, let's dive into the world of investing. Today, we're going to demystify the whole process of investment and portfolio management. We're laying out a roadmap that's designed to take you from the absolute basics all the way to the kinds of sophisticated strategies that the pros use. So let's get right into it.
And we're going to kick things off with a quote from investor Robert Arnott it really hits the nail on the head. In investing, what is comfortable is rarely profitable. It's such a powerful idea, right? It means that real success in this world isn't about chasing the easy, obvious thing. It's about building the skills to see what others miss and having the discipline to make smart, strategic moves.
So that's the big question, isn't it? If the comfortable path isn't the one that pays off, how in the world do you find the right one? How do you build up the confidence and, the actual knowledge to handle the ups and downs of the financial markets? Well, that's the map we're about to unfold.
Because like any great journey, you're going to need two things: a really good guide who knows the terrain and a solid map to show you the way.
And here is our guide, Professor Vladimir Savchuk. And look, this isn't just anybody. We're talking about someone with a PhD in risk analysis who's written 8 books and consults for major companies. The point is, he's got the deep academic smarts, but he's also been in the real world, applying this stuff. He's seen it all.
So what's the whole point of this course? The vision is simple: to give you a foundational toolkit. And I love that word toolkit, because this isn't about memorizing a bunch of facts. It's about getting a set of actual, practical tools that you can pull out and use to analyze investments and manage your portfolio for real. And you don't build that kind of toolkit overnight. It happens through a really clear, logical journey that's broken down into 4 main stages.
So here's the map. It all flows in a way that just makes sense. You start with the foundations, then you build on that with core theory. Once you have the theory down, you learn a repeatable investment process, and it all leads up to the final step: application and synthesis. You see, you've got to walk before you can run. Let's break down what's in each of these steps.
First up, the foundations. Think of this like building the foundation for a house. It has to be rock solid before you can do anything else. This is where you get the big picture. How do global markets actually work? Who are the key players? And what's the all-important first step of deciding where to even put your money? Strategic asset allocation.
Okay, with the foundation poured, it's time for the core theory. This is kind of like learning the physics of investing, the fundamental rules that govern everything. You'll master the critical relationship between risk and return, the incredible power of diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket, and the big one, modern portfolio theory. And hey, this isn't just some random idea. We're talking Nobel Prize-winning stuff here. Now that you've got the theory, it's time to get a process. This is your playbook, your step-by-step method. You'll learn what's called a top-down approach. It's like being a detective. You start by looking at the big picture. What's happening in the entire economy? Then you drill down to a specific industry, and finally, you zoom in on the individual company.
And finally, we get to application and synthesis. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's where you take everything you've learned, the foundations, the theory, the process, and you actually put it all together. You'll be building portfolios and forming clear, actionable recommendations. This is where you stop being a student and start thinking like an analyst.
So we've seen the 4-stage journey. Now let's go back to that toolkit we were talking about. Let's open it up and see exactly what kinds of professional-grade tools you'll be walking away with.
And here they are. These are the heavy hitters. You'll learn how to craft an investment policy statement, which is like your personal constitution for investing. You'll use powerful concepts like the efficient frontier to find that sweet spot between risk and reward. And of course, the valuation models, DCF, DDM, P/E ratios. This is how you figure out what a company is actually worth. And you'll be doing this on the same platforms the pros use, like Excel, Python, and market data terminals.
So what does this all mean? What will you actually be able to do? Well, you'll be able to look at a financial statement and have it make sense. You'll apply those sophisticated models to come up with a valuation. But here's the real game changer. You won't just be able to build a portfolio, you'll be able to critique it, defend it, and explain exactly why it's structured the way it is.
Okay, that sounds great. But how does all that knowledge actually turn into action? How do you bridge that gap? Well, the entire course is structured to do exactly that.
The weekly rhythm is a powerful 1-2 punch. For 2 hours, the lecture delivers the core concepts, the what and the why. Then, for 1 hour, the seminar is where you roll up your sleeves and apply those exact concepts to practical problems. It's a constant cycle of learning, then doing, learning, then doing. And you're fully supported the whole way. Everything you could possibly need. The lecture slides, the problem sets for the seminars, all the readings, it's all organized in one place for you on Moodle, so you can just focus on learning.
So, how is success measured? It's a combination of ongoing work and a final test of your overall knowledge. The individual coursework makes up 20%. That's to make sure you're applying what you learned throughout the course. But the big one is the final exam, worth 80%. That's where you get to show that you can bring it all together.
And one last really important point, this is not a passive experience where you just sit back and listen. The whole environment thrives on your participation and collaboration. Honestly, you'll learn as much from your peers as you do from the lectures, so jumping in and being part of the conversation is absolutely key.
So let's close with another piece of timeless wisdom, this time from Warren Buffett himself. The stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. I think this is the perfect bookend to our first quote. The goal isn't just to be active for the sake of it. The goal is to develop the discipline, the deep knowledge, and the conviction that allows you to be patient.
Because ultimately, that's what a journey like this is all about. It's a transformation. It's about moving from being a reactive trader who gets swayed by every news headline to becoming a patient, strategic investor who is guided by a solid, repeatable process. The only real question left is, are you ready to begin that journey?